let's do cheers. All right, man.
All right,
Cheers. This is a great way to start. So in this episode, we're going to talk about things that we like about Japan, things that pleasantly surprise us. In the first episode, we talked about the kind of things that shocked us.
Yeah.
We're going to be a little bit more positive this time. So you're from the Seattle area originally. So why is it that you want to stay here and not go back?
Man, that is a hard question. I think if I were to pick the number one thing, it's the daily life here.
Okay.
And when I say daily life, I mean like the actual like going to work and hanging out with your coworkers here. There's just an experience here. Assuming you are able to integrate yourself in.
Yeah.
There's an experience with your coworkers here. It's like there's this bond that you get that you don't necessarily get in the U.S. because in the U.S. In American cultures, you compartmentalize everything, right? So you have your coworkers, you have your friends, you have your family. It's like everything's got its little box, and it's like you finish work, you go hang out with your buddies. You come home, you hang out with your family, right? Here, it's like kind of everything's just pushed into one box, right? It's like most people's friends are their coworkers.
Yeah, right.
So for me, it's like, you know, I get to spend my day working with my friends, and then at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I go have a few beers with my friends and go home, and it's just like that cycle just repeats on a daily basis, and it's a very comfortable way to live.
You know, it's funny that you say that though, because I know a lot of people talk about how there's no work-life balance in Japan, how they say exactly what you say, but they say it as kind of a bad thing. Like,
Sure.
You work, you hang out with your work people, and then you go home late at night, but then basically you're just hanging out with doing work or hanging out with your work people.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of interesting that you take that in a positive note. So like, why do you think it is that some people take it as a negative way and you take it as a positive way?
Well, a short answer would be, I just think it just depends on your disposition on life.
Okay.
You know, if whether you're just a positive or negative person, but I think, in other ways, it just depends on how good you are with time management.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people here, but not necessarily even in Japan, but there's a lot of people just in life that are not good with prioritizing things.
Okay.
You know? And it's just like, for me, some of my friends, some of my coworkers, they'll work till 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And it's like, it just is a simple nudge of me being like, hey, you know what? 6 o'clock. It's time to go home. Come and have a beer with me.
Okay.
And they'll be like, oh, well, I need to get this done. It's like, no. Just come finish what you're doing and just leave. That's great. You finished. Time to go home. So it's just having that understanding and being able to set time frames in your day-to-day life, I think will drastically change your mentality on that.
So setting up your
opinion.
priorities and time management and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, like, so to be honest, if I had to work a regular job in Japan, I probably would not live here.
Sure.
But I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
So I get to decide my own stuff, you know? But yeah, I just remember one time I was talking with one of my friends on Facebook, and it was around 5 p.m. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just at the office.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, are you allowed to use Facebook during work? And she's like, yeah, you know, well, we're just waiting for my boss to leave now.
Yeah.
Like, wait, so what are you doing? She's like, nothing in particular. I'm like, so you have to wait there until your boss leaves?
Yep.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
And for me, you know, I love how people work so hard, but sometimes I think it gets a little bit out of whack, and like there's imbalance. But for you, like, how are you able to kind of keep your work-life balance in Japan?
Well, so I think having a very firm discipline on when you will start work and when you will finish work. Something that people here in Japan typically do is, like you were saying, they hang around until their boss leaves. for me, I'm an American. I live in Japan. I love living in Japan. And I actually plan on staying here forever. But I'm never gonna not be an American. 9 to 5 is what I do.
Yeah.
And from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I will work hard. I will do whatever my job requires me to do. Like I'm a teacher, so I'll teach my classes. I'll make sure my lesson plans are done. As soon as 5 p.m. rolls around, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll stay if there's something that really needs to get done, but it's just growing up. Like that's what my family did. So that's what I'm used to. And I think that that's a very healthy way to live. Yeah.
I remember when I was in Seattle and how like I-5 on like Fridays would be blocked at 3:30 or like 4 p.m. and I'm like, all these people leaving so early. I feel like especially people from the West Coast, they have like their work-life balance
West
priorities
Coast
set up.
time, man. You have 4 o'clock is 5 p.m. in West Coast time.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, like one thing that I really like about living here is how seriously people take their work a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So like my wife actually, she grew up in Niigata, and she used to have this, in Japanese you say akogare. She used to have this like elevated view of American people. Like American people are here and Japanese people are here or whatever. And then she went to Glacier National Park in Montana to work for a month in like one of the lodges or whatever. And she loved it, first of all.
Yeah.
It was great. She gained 15 pounds in 1 month, but she loved it.
That's awesome. My family's got a homestead out there. So
really?
I lit up as soon as you... Yeah. My family moved from Ireland and set up like a homestead over in
really?
National Park.
Dude, okay, we need to talk about that at another time. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But she told me how like she would work so hard while all the other people were taking cigarette breaks and stuff like that. Yeah. And that's when she realized, oh wait, Japanese people work really hard and a lot of other people are lazy. And that's when she kind of had a more like normalized view of people from the US.
Sure.
But yeah, like of course, working really hard and focusing on your task at hand too much can lead to some bad things like overwork or doing unnecessary work or focusing on the wrong things. But that's one of the aspects that I really love about Japan is just how seriously people take their work.
Yeah.
It's a real artisan culture.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. It's been a lot of in a lot of discussions about work culture here, whether or not, people are working too hard or, what's going on. And, I don't necessarily think it's everybody here that does that too. Yeah. It's like, man, I got a guy in my school. Guy literally sleeps all day.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Literally sleeps all day. Yeah. He was actually snoring in the teacher's room.
What?
One day. What? It's just like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, you're getting paid to snore? Yeah, it's all, for me, hard work is something to respect, but I've always been I've had a lot of different jobs in my life.
Wait a second.
Was that not recording?
It's okay. We'll just do this one audio only.
Fair enough.
One. Okay.
I've worked a lot of jobs in my life. So I've worked at a video game store. I worked construction. I was in the military. I worked at a tech company. I'm a teacher now. And specifically coming from the construction and the military side of me, there was always a mentality